Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Welcome to Momentum's online Customer Connect. Very keen to get started and share some information with you this morning. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Al Emery, Managing Director at Momentum Software Solutions. So before we get into the agenda, just a couple of housekeeping items. We do have a lot of people on the webinar today. I think we have 80 registered and about 30 on so far. So if you could just help us out by making sure your microphone's on mute, it just helps prevent any background noise coming through whilst we're presenting. And we invite questions throughout the session this morning, so feel free to use the chat box or raise your hand, and we'll happily pause and answer any questions that come up. And finally, just on housekeeping, we are recording the webinar and we'll be sending the recording out to people who attended so that you can share it with other people in your team. So the agenda today is a quick welcome and update from me, and there'll be two parts to that, a quick Momentum update and also an MYOB update. And today we really want to get into the product. So we obviously love the MYOB Advanced and EXO products, and we want to share with you how you can use some of the aspects of the platform that you may not be familiar with, focusing on particularly newer enhancements that are broadly applicable to everybody. And so we're going to be having a product update with Joe, one of our senior consultants. I'll be covering an EXO product update and talking about the options to migrate from EXO to Advanced for those businesses that are thinking about doing that. Then we've got some further tips and tricks on using MYOB Advanced by Pankaj. And then lastly, but not least, we have Chris Miller from Velixo. He's going to be showing you how you can supercharge your reporting and budgeting and various other things using their fantastic Excel-based BI solution. So getting straight into it, an update on Momentum and MYOB. So firstly, 2023 was a huge year, both for Momentum and MYOB, particularly MYOB's enterprise division. There was a lot of growth and expansion and overall improvement. So a few quick highlights is that our team has expanded considerably, and we're now operating in just about every state of Australia except for WA right now. So we have team members in Cairns, Mackay, the Sunshine Coast in Brisbane, where we've always been, a team in Sydney, Melbourne and Adelaide. So we've certainly been finding great people wherever they might be, which means that we can service customers throughout Australia. So we're happy to be able to continue on that journey and service larger national companies wherever they need it. A couple of other things. So we've obviously continued to grow, and we have over 275 ERP customers now, which is quite a sizable customer base for a business of our type. We've completed about 30 ERP implementations in the last 12 months, and we pretty much always have at least somewhere between 30 and 40 on the go. So that's our bread and butter. That's what we do all day, every day, is helping businesses move from small business software to ERP, or from an older or out-of-date ERP to a more modern cloud ERP. Our consulting team is now over 30 people, and we've now have over 40 people in our business in total, so that we can keep up with demand for our growing customer base and keep delivering those projects. We celebrated our 16th year in business since I started in the business right back in 2007. and won several awards. So we were the MYOB's Construction Partner of the Year for the second year running, which we're very proud of, and also Excellence in Marketing Partner of the Year. Those are Australia and New Zealand combined awards. And so that's largely done or guided by our leadership team. So myself, Deanne Black, our Manager, People, Process and Culture, Ian Dunn, our Service Delivery Manager, who many of you might know, our support team led by Kathy, and our project managers, Andrew and James, who are the leadership around our implementations and making sure that they all stay on track. From a product perspective, and this is an MYOB update, last year there were over 750 new features and enhancements delivered into the MYOB Advanced product, which is an amazing amount of development. And those obviously are rolled out to customers on different upgrade cycles. In total, there's now 2,100 businesses running MYOB Advanced around Australia and New Zealand, which is a huge number considering the product hasn't been in the market all that long, and continues to expand very rapidly on the back of the Acumatica and MYOB investment that's going on. I guess a couple of forward-looking or work in progress things from both MYOB's perspective and Momentum's is dealing with upgrades. So obviously the large number of customers you have and still wanting to pump out new features, upgrades need to be done well. We get mostly positive feedback about upgrades, but there certainly are challenges at times. So something that both MYOB and Momentum are working on is improving the upgrade execution, upgrade communications, and the end result. So improving release awareness for yourselves, our customers. So when our release is coming, when are you going to be upgraded? That happens through a combination of email notifications from ourselves. There are communications from MYOB, and they now are what we call in-product messaging. So you may see little pop-ups on your MYOB Advanced screens from time to time about impending upgrades. And then importantly, having ability to access a sandbox, which is your live system, but upgraded to the new version so that both you and ourselves can do whatever testing's needed to verify that everything is working as intended, and whether there's anything that we need to adjust so that when the live upgrade happens, it's non-disruptive to you. MYOB have improved some of the tooling that we have access to manage the scheduling of upgrades and sandboxes, so that certainly has been an improvement. And then, after your upgrade, you want to, I guess, a bit of reminder of what new features you now have access to. They aren't all automatically turned on or available. Some of them need some support from us to get you up and running with those. And that's what sessions like today are designed to help with as well. Most importantly, that you are able to get a better return on investment with the software you're using by taking advantages of the improvements that are there. And then quickly, a couple of forward-looking slides, which is AI and machine learning. So that's something that both MYOB and Acumatica are very focused on. Key areas where AI and machine learning are going to play a role in software, and in some ways already are, is automation. So making it easier to automate things within your business applications. Increasing revenue, and providing better customer support by interactive assistants, bots, generative AI helping with decision making. And then intelligent advisor, so gaining insights much more easily from your software, making it available to people who need it in a way that suits their role or their individual needs. So These are all part of MYOB's strategy to responsibly work with the AI frameworks. And what they see is the high value use cases that you'll start to see in the product over time is automation, anything from language translation, task management, image recognition, interactive assistance, so chatbots, support assistants, Excel Copilot, drafting of content, document generation, and even to a degree custom solution generation. So we're already seeing the ability to create apps using an AI tool that virtually does the development for you. And intelligent advisor in lots of ways. So completely automating the bank rec, price optimization, customer transaction value, vendor performance, and many more. So those are things that were presented to us at the MYOB conference recently on the Gold Coast. That was in February. So AI and machine learning are certainly front of mind in their organization, and you'll start to see some of those things become evident in future releases of MYOB Advanced. So next we have Joe. We want to get straight into some product stuff. So Joe's going to be taking you through some key improvements and enhancements that you would have seen in recent releases. So over to you, Joe.
Thanks, Al, and hi, everybody. I'll just share the screen here so we're all on the same screen. So there has just been a major release for MYOB Advanced, and I think that there are a few people that are on the newest release, which is 2023.1. So most of the features that we're going through today are going to be pretty major features that have been released within that new version. Some of them are things that have been enhanced, and some of them are really new features that we think that all of our customers should at least have a look at using. And some of them have been things that have been requested for a really long time. So the first one we're going to have a look at, which I'll just run you through a quick demo of, is the mixed type sales orders. So in the past releases, if you've had a customer that, for example, has come in and purchased something, returns it, you have to do a return, you have to credit that, and then you have to create a new invoice for the new goods, and then apply that credit memo. So it is quite a long process. So in the 2023 release, the new mixed order type has been created. So everyone that has been upgraded, if they have a look at their order types, they will find that there is a new order type in here called MO, or mixed order. It has some basic settings, and we can use our normal quick process settings as well. Every time you get an upgrade, you need to review these items, just because all of these sales defaults and purchase defaults and things need to be populated to suit what your guys' settings are. Generally speaking, you would populate them the same as your standard SO sales order. So if we just go through and we create a new sales order, for those that don't know, we can just select this order type here. So if we change that to a mixed type order and select a customer, we can then add an item. It doesn't matter which order you do that in. You can put your return item in first, or you can put your new sale item in. It's entirely up to you. So if we go through and select an item here, probably nothing to do with what we're going to return, but we'll pop in a price. And this will deal with any sort of balance that's left over as well. So if you have a negative balance, then obviously you can process a credit or a refund. And if you have a balance remaining, then you can certainly take a payment during the normal process as well. So to do our return item, all we do is change our quantity, and this will be the only time you can generally have a minus in these screens. That's something that people have asked for quite a lot. So we can see there, we can type in -1, which is something that we've never been able to do before. So if we save that, and we can do our quick process. and do our standard invoice generation as well. So what that will do is that will automatically create a shipment for us, and it will create that invoice, which we can then pay as normal, or you can take the payment within the sales order the same way you would with a normal sales order. So once this loads, we can see that we actually have this released invoice here for $165. And if we go back to our sales order and take a look at our shipping, our shipments, we'll see that we've got some automatically generated shipments in there, and that tells us that that was an auto-generated shipment. So that is quite a powerful thing, and hopefully it won't be the last screen that they allow you to do those types of negatives in. And it may not necessarily be used for returns either. There's a lot of people that have wanted to put in discount lines, putting in a negative. There's a lot of uses for that. It doesn't just have to be used for returning goods. So the next one, which is one that I know every person that has set up approvals has asked for at some point in time, when you have an approver that is on leave, all of their approvals tend to get stuck in an approval queue. And the only way for you to be able to fix that is for you to go and modify either the approval maps and put the new person in there, or to go through and update that company tree and change some positions around if you're just using the company tree. In the new release, they have added in the reassignment and delegation of approvals. That means that you can set dates around approvals and you can allocate approvals to different people when people are on leave, or if they're just too busy to handle those approvals, they can delegate them to somebody else. So that means that all of your approval flows will just keep on running rather than being stuck until somebody comes around and approves those. That's particularly an issue with payroll when you have people that need to approve timesheets or leave, and your payroll sort of goes on standby until you actually get everybody approving everything and redelegate all of those approvals. Every system administrator can then control what approvals can or can't be delegated. So it's not an across the board function. It doesn't mean that once you enable it, every approval level can be delegated. That is completely under the control of whoever is doing the administration of those approval maps. So in your approvals screen, you'll see that there is a new option here to allow the reassignment of approvals. That is on every step within your sales order approval or your leave approval. So you may have different levels in here, and you may decide if you have a $5,000 approval, for example, that you're going to allow reassignment of that approval. Then you may have a higher level of approval here, say for $50,000 orders, but you may not want to allow the reassignment of that approval. So that allows you to sort of keep a level of security on that as well, so that you're not allowing everybody to just have a delegate that they can push everything out to. So you may want a manager to be able to delegate a small amount, but if you get a big order through, you really want them to have a look at that personally. We also have some additional fields in the delegates tab of your employees, and some different options now as well. So in every employee, which is an approver, you have the option in here to delegate approvals and who that delegate should be. So you can have multiple delegates in here so that you can pick and choose which delegate to actually hand an approval onto. You can tick whether or not they are active, so you can tick and untick those at any point in time. And you can also specify date ranges as well. So if you know that this person is going on leave for a period of 3 months and you want those approvals to go to a different person for that period, then you can put in a start and end date there as well. So in individual approval documents or in individual orders, you can go through and manually reassign. So an approval would go into this document, decide that they don't really want to have a look at it right now, and they can reassign that to somebody else. And from this screen here, the approval screen, which has got a list of all of your approvals, you can check them in multiple batches and assign them as well. You can also enable a new system feature, which is called the approval workflow. That's in your enable disable features after the upgrade. And that will allow any administrative user, so anybody who has access to control those approval maps, it will allow you to go through and bulk process these to assign them to a delegate or to assign them back to their original approver. It's important to note here too that this is actually something that can be scheduled. So as you can see, you've got that little clock on there as well. So if you're wanting to set up a business event or a process that says if these aren't approved within 1 day, we want to reassign them to a delegate, or if they haven't been approved by somebody else, we want to put them back to the original approver. Business events. We've had a lot of enhancements in the new release with business events. They've been around for quite some time, but I have to say that most places are underutilizing them. Essentially, a business event is like an if this, then that type of tool. So it will take a record in any screen or any GI, any field, and it will watch that field for changes or new records added, and then it will do whatever process you've told the business event to do once that has actually been changed, added, updated, etc. So you can use them to send notification templates, SMSs, and you can trigger import scenarios and generate reports. So all of the triggers sort of up until this point have been data driven, meaning that you have to actually change a record, add a record, or remove a record for it to actually do any sort of trigger. So in the current or new release, we are now adding in form-based triggers or actions. So in each of our screens, you'll know that there is a menu system, and in that menu, you have a different pile of options. So that might be to create an activity or to close something, or even just to insert a new record. So any action that you have on the form that you are actually doing. So in this case, you can see we're doing that for cases. Any action will actually appear in the triggers here. So what you can do is say, create activity. So anytime somebody triggers that create activity, we can raise an event. So we can do some sort of automated process. So if you have someone perhaps that has closed a case and you're wanting to perform an action when a case is closed, all of those menu options will appear within the business event screen now. So every business event requires a subscriber. So a subscriber can be a person, it can be an email notification template, an import scenario, a push notification. To further expand the new features that they've got for those screen actions, you can actually now set a subscriber as the action. So any action that you see within that screen, such as close case, create a new case, send an email to a customer, email a document, they can all be put into those subscribers as well. So that will allow you to trigger a report to run from another action. So for example, in a cash account, if somebody goes through and adds in a record, you can have, as soon as they release that record, to run a cash flow summary report and have that email to you. The last feature that we're going to have a look at, which is quite a huge one and looks like it's going to be a very powerful tool. In the first release, there is a lot more options than I think we really anticipated they would have, and they seem to have put it in a lot more screens than we thought that it would actually touch on its first release. So our integration points that are going to be working straight out of the box with Microsoft Teams, and the features that we can do is we can start a Teams chat straight from MYOB Advanced. We can also start a Teams call from Advanced. Now that can be with an internal or external user. So it can be a customer or supplier, or it can be one of your employees that actually has that, that Teams login as well. You can also import files from Microsoft Teams into Advanced. You can share advanced records with contacts or channels in Teams, and you can send automatic notifications in Teams about events that have occurred on a record. So obviously there is a lot of security and configuration options that are available that will make sure that if you have any confidential financial data in advance, it won't go into Teams, and obviously that people in advance can't see any Teams data or channels that they shouldn't actually be able to see. So if there are confidential management channels and sales discussions that people shouldn't have access to, you have complete control over what channels everybody can see or post to. You can also say whether or not they have write options, so they can send a message to a channel but can't read any messages in a channel. So you can create a chat or call now from the cases, leads, opportunities, business accounts, contacts, customers, and supplier screens. So in this screen here, you can see that we've got one of our cases, and beside our contact, which is our customer, we have that Teams option, and it shows their team status. And then we also have the owner of the case, which is one of our employees, and what their status is as well. We can click on that and it will pop up with a Teams contact box. And then we have the option of creating a chat, phoning them on Teams, or scheduling a meeting with them. So the normal file import box within Advance, that dialog box has been modified to allow an upload from Teams. And what that will do is browse through the files that you have access to in Teams, and you can search for a file name, and you can attach that to the current record as well. So you can also add activities that will send notifications to Teams. So you can use notification templates that will actually go to a team. So you can see here we've got a support channel. So if we add an activity of Teams in our support case or in our purchase order, we can send that message out to that Teams channel. So you can customize these notification templates to send them to different channels, or you can send them to a channel based upon a formula that will be linked to whatever screen you're on. So the activity and notification templates that you've got for Teams can also now be used within those enhanced business events. So the Teams notification has been added as a subscriber so that you can automate these messages as well. So if you have, for example, a support channel that you want to know about cases that have been escalated, you can use that escalation trigger to send out a notification template to a support channel. And that is the end of my new features. There are a lot of other new features that are available though, but within the time that we've got, we can obviously only cover a few. So if you haven't read the release notes, I would strongly suggest that everybody get a copy of those release notes, because there are a lot of new features within the 2023 release that are going to be of interest across the board to everybody. And then we have a minor release as well, which is going to be of huge interest to anyone who's using payroll. I'll hand that back to you, Al.
Great, thanks, Joe. Hopefully everybody found that informative, and you can see how you could apply some of those new features to your business. We've tended to focus on things that were, we think, broadly applicable. As Joe said, there's a number of improvements that are more industry specific, so that the MYOB always release enhancements to manufacturing, for example, enhancements to construction edition, all of which are available in the release documentation. And if anybody was after specific information about those or a demo, we can do that for you. I particularly like the Teams integration. Teams is a tool that we have pretty much embedded in our business, and over time we see more and more use of Teams as an alternative to email, particularly so we started by doing it internally, and we have very few, if any, internal emails. We do it all through Teams. We implemented Teams calling, so now all of our phones through the Teams calling feature. And we're starting to interact more and more with anybody, customer, partner, supplier, whomever they might be, via Teams chats and channels as well. Because in the main, it's just a lot more efficient than email. So hopefully you can see how that might be applicable to your business and how you can interact with both internal and external people through the Teams integration. So next section is EXO, which there's two aspects to that, is what's happening from an EXO perspective with new features, and also what are the options to move from EXO to advanced. And so I'll cover those for you. There's been 2 releases so far this year. And as we've said in a few sessions in the past, it's fair to say that EXO is largely in maintenance and compliance mode, that there aren't a lot of sexy new features being developed by MYOB. And you would say the same about any software vendor that has a desktop or server-based product. Most, if not all, software companies are investing their money in their cloud products. Having said that, there are subtle improvements that are happening and also defects that are resolved on a regular basis by the MYOB development team for EXO. So the most recent release, which is the 2023.3 release, resolved a number of annoying issues with work orders. So work orders are an assembly or simple manufacturing feature in MYOB EXO. So there were a couple, the save button disappearing, some access violation errors, and some quantity and batch code deletions happening that should not have been. So those have been resolved. Ability to manage changing invoice amounts after taking payments, and resolving some other issues around debtors or accounts receivable. And similarly, some resolution of issues in the job costing module where costs converted from the quote tab of a job had different costs depending on the case of the stock code. So there was a couple of just little odd things there that MYOB have resolved. And the release notes for both those releases are available on the EXO Education Centre. And we've got hyperlinks in our PowerPoint that we'll share with you. The other thing to talk about for our EXO customers on the session today is the EXO payroll product. So I need to be clear that MYOB have announced end of life for MYOB EXO payroll and the other modules associated with EXO payroll, like time and attendance and employee info. They have not and don't have any short-term plans to announce end of life for EXO business. But clearly they are encouraging all customers that are running EXO to consider migrating to MYOB Advanced. But focusing on payroll, there's a couple of reasons for that, which we've explained in the past, but it's worth touching on again. So the EXO payroll is a much older technology than the other EXO business products. So it's running on a Fox Pro platform, whereas MYOB EXO Business and Job Costing and all those other modules run on Microsoft SQL Server, which is a much more modern and robust technology. Fox Pro is no longer supported by Microsoft. So MYOB have all the tools they need to continue to maintain it, but it doesn't make sense to attempt to continue that too far into the future because it's just doesn't have a future. Very difficult to incorporate modern security into a Fox Pro platform. So things like multi-factor authentication and modern password and cybersecurity options just simply aren't possible. So that's a couple of key reasons. The other is advanced payroll is in just about every way a better product. So it's easy to use. It has some other modules out of the box that XO requires additional modules for. So, for example, employee self-service is a standard feature in advanced payroll, runs on the mobile app, runs in a browser. Employees can do leave requests, check their leave balances, get payslips. And it also has a very nice employee onboarding feature where when you hire or onboard a new employee, they can effectively onboard themselves via an email link, fill out their TFN deck, nominate their preferred super, and all of that goes straight into advanced payroll through that workflow. So we already have a number of customers that have already migrated from XO to advanced for both payroll and ERP. Payroll's the more urgent priority because it has been announced end of life. Right now and for the next few months, there are some commercial offers available. So for XO customers looking to migrate to MYOB Advanced, either for payroll or ERP or both, there is a 6-month free license period for the MYOB Advanced licenses. There is normally only a 3-month period for that, so that's been doubled. Equally, there is a 15-month price freeze, so the MYOB Advanced license prices would not change for 15 months for any businesses that choose to start their migration now. And there is also pro rata free months. So what MYOB don't want, and nor do we, is customers paying for 2 lots of licenses at the same time. So for a period of time while you're implementing Advanced, you're still using XO. So effectively, you're only charged 1 set of licenses. So if you've already paid your XO annual license fees, for example, or about to, there's some relief for that. And ongoing access for 12 months for XO so that you can access your XO database for historical reporting and tax and compliance purposes is free. So it basically means the annual license fee for XO is waived or credited. So we've already migrated to 17 customers that either have migrated or are in the process of. And it's important to really think about that. So from a payroll perspective, and I'm talking directly to XO customers, you have no choice. Your payroll is going to end of life. And so that's a decision you need to make. And we would suggest that's made sooner rather than later, because what none of us can manage, both Momentum or MYOB, is 150 customers all wanting to migrate in October 2025. We need to get people into a queue and start helping them move across. From a payroll perspective, it's a relatively straightforward implementation. We bring your employee data across. We help you bring across your pay items, supers, deductions, allowances, and things. We have a tool that we use to help us do that. You run through 2 parallel pays, just like you would have when you set up XO payroll in the first place. Make sure they all reconcile to your existing payroll, and then you can start using advanced payroll as your live payroll. And it's just a manual journal into XO. If you continue to use XO Business, you do a manual journal at the completion of each pay, which is a relatively simple thing to do. Moving your ERP, obviously there's quite a bit more involved in doing that, but it's something we're doing regularly, and we would work through that process with you. There's a couple of videos you can watch, and we'll share those with you as well, which just highlight the whys and hows of transitioning from XO Business to MYOB Advanced, both ERP and payroll. So thanks for your time on that. We're going to invite any questions or for anybody who wants to contact us directly on the migration process. We've got discussions happening with people all the time. So next we have some more tips and tricks for MYOB Advanced. So I'm going to hand over to Pankaj, who does a lot of our pre-sales and demonstrations of MYOB Advanced, to give you, again, some more hands-on training of key features of MYOB Advanced that you might not know. Thanks, Pankaj.
Thank you, El. Good morning, everybody. So this is Pankaj. As Bell mentioned, I do pre-sales and product enhancement features, and I always like to show it to our customers and prospects that how MYOB Advanced can help you, get the things done. I'm going to share my screen now, and I hope that everybody can see my screen. But at any point, if you want me to enlarge the size, I can, increase the size of the screen. But this is today's agenda for tips and tricks. So I'll cover all these points: side panel enhancements, generic inquiry styles, email templates, task templates, and mobile workspaces. So let's get started. So as you guys can see on my screen, so this is a beautiful generic inquiry that I, use to match my purchase orders against the purchase receipts against the supplier bills that we have done. Now, side panels, we can set some reports, inquiries, processes, dashboards as our side panels, which you can see on the right-hand side. So all these icons that you see here, whether they are a report, a screen, a dashboard, or any value that you can also put here. The main purpose of having it here is to save time. That's the main purpose, is because I don't want myself go into multiple screens to get to match the things or to see another records or relative information. So what I did is I had those side panels added to this inquiry. So at any point of time I want to look at the PO, I can easily highlight any of the PO lines in here and then click on purchase order. So that would give me, the entry screen of the purchase order of this number 481, and I can easily look for the information within the purchase order forms. Now, if I want to print a purchase order form and send it to a supplier, I can click on PO form here. So it gives me a good view of what my purchase orders look like. And the good thing is I can easily highlight any of the PO line here, and it just changes, the PO form view for me. And I can easily send it to the supplier from here, or you follow the same process you're following at the moment of sending PO to the suppliers. Now, against this PO, how many receipts we have done, I can easily see here the purchase receipt, and that gives me the number. And there is no purchase receipt, as you can see. It could be a supplier that we have taken services in hours and we are not receiving anything. But if I move on to something where supplier supplied us some goods, as you can see, this is my purchase receipt number 63, so I can easily see the information here. Now, have we paid to the supplier against that receipt or no? I can easily check here in my supplier bill. When I click on AP bill, it just shows me the entry that we have done for the supplier bill. So the overall idea of having these side panels enhancement is for me to be on one screen and get the information, whatever I want against those records. I can easily go to multiple screens, open those screens in multiple tabs, but I'm lazy doing that. So I want to have one screen where I can see most of my information available. Now we can set dashboards as well on the side panel, which means if I were to look for this supplier, AI Coatings or SAR Hardware or any of one of them, I just highlight the suppliers and then click on supplier overall dashboard. That gives me the overall picture of what the suppliers and we are doing business. So we have zero balance with this supplier at the moment. There are 5 open supplier bills. There are open purchase order 7 and so on. Now you can add more data to this if you want. So this is a quick view of the supplier and our company business information. Now, if I were to add any reports in there, so this is the tip that we always do with, I can easily go into the mode, the edit mode of this generic inquiry, and then easily map what are the other things I want to see in the side panels or a pop-up window or whatever the window mode I choose. So I already added a couple of things here just for this demonstration of this area. So I add these. I want to see all the purchase order receipt and billing history of that PO. So I save this one. I click on my view inquiry again. It would open this beautiful inquiry for me. And then you would see a new side panel has been added here. I can easily select any of these, PO here, and I can click purchase order receipts and billing history. So it shows me this is my PO and how many receipts we have done against that PO and how many bills we have created against that receipts here. So it's like full receipts or partial receipts, all the information in one report for me. And I can easily click on these links to open that record. So that's the enhancement you can do via side panels on any generic inquiry screen. You think of any of the data that you want to see, you can easily map that to the side panels. Now, another trick that I found, and I think it's very helpful, is that this is the generic inquiry where we have all the side panels here. Now, what about the transaction screen? We can add side panels to the transaction screen as well. For that, I'll just take to stock item list. So this is my stock item list that I have. Now, I also have side panels here with my stock item list where I can easily check things. Other thing that we can add in a side panel is to view image. So I have my all stock item there. We have the images for that stock item. Now, if I want to view it as a side panel so that I can easily display or easily have a look on the stock item, how it looks like, I can easily add that as a side panel here as well. So I'll just quickly show you how I did that. Again, I went into the inquiry editing mode. You don't have to be a very technical, specific person to do this. It's very easy. I go to the navigations. I added which screen and report I want to open in the side panel. So I added that in a list. It is a side panel as in window mode, so it would be displayed as a side panel. I click save. I again click on view inquiry. Now, you can see there is a view image side panel has been added. So I can click on that and it would show me what my item looks like and the basic information, which warehouse, what's the unit cost, what's on-hand quantity, available quantity, and expired quantity if we are tracking the stock expiration dates. Now, I can easily move to the next line and it show me the next line image there. I can move to the next line, it shows me the next line image there. So this is one of the things that many of our existing customers have asked me, can we see the stock item images in a generic inquiry view? Well, technically, there is no provisions to show the images under the grid here, but we found it a good trick of creating a report that shows those values, and then we link that report whether as a column here or as a side panel. Now, if I want to look at the transaction history of this stock item, again, I am very lazy going into multiple pages to see the information. I can click on transaction history. That shows me all the transaction done for that stock item starting this year, 1st of January this one. I can easily change the date to see more of it. And this can be automated as well. This date as default to 2 years prior, 3 years prior, and so on. As I can see all the receipts, invoices, and adjustments we have done for that stock code. I can easily click on summary by date for the particular day. What's the quantity we take in, what's the quantity goes out, and then the ending and the beginning quantity. So these enhancements really helps us to save time and to be on one screen. so that we can get the information right away. Now, another feature that I recently added is find or create a BOM. If you guys are in the manufacturing industry and you are creating new bill of materials for the finished good item, if I added that as a finished good item, I can easily search the available bill of materials for that item with their revision numbers, different bill of materials, or the same bill of material with different revisions. If I don't find any, I can click on plus and start creating a bill of material right from here. Again, I don't want to go to multiple screens to do that. I can easily create a bill of material from here, and then system would allow me the process there onwards. So that's basically the side panel enhancements that I wanted to talk about. Now, the other point is the generic inquiry styles. Now, when I say style, which means I want to put some colors to my generic inquiries. Not only that it's be colorful, but colors also define some actions. So in other words, if I'm on the same stock inquiry, I put a condition in my generic inquiry logic saying that any stock item where the quantity on hand is less than 10, turn it to red. So when I look at this screen, when I log in the morning, I can straight away see that how many stock items that we need to do purchases or do replenishment or run replenishment or prepare replenishment and so on. So this inquiry that I started with, these all coloring are very easy to do. All you need to do is go into the generic inquiry mode, and for those columns, you can easily define that you want to show that in a green, you want to show that in an orange or a blue. It's easy for you to select that. Another thing, and this is very good for the CRM people, sales development, because I am sales development consultant, so I do follow that. So this is, let's say our dashboard, and we have coloring here that we have open opportunities in blue, new opportunities in orange, and so on. Now, when I go to my opportunities list that point out all the opportunities we have in the system with all the statuses we have. Now, if I want to put colors to this generic inquiry, I can easily go back into the generic inquiry mode. And if you know the if-else condition, which means if the stage of my opportunity is new, highlight in yellow color or orange color. If it is in this, highlight in that and that way. So that's basically is one. So I'll go into the style mode, click on this pencil, and I put my logic here. You don't have to be, as I mentioned, don't have to be very technical sound for that. If you know the Excel's if and else conditions, you can easily do that. For this demo purposes, I already added that here. And this is how it's a small thing to just add. And if I go here and I say, if my opportunity status is N means new, show it in orange. If it is open, show it in blue, and so on. I validate that. Save it. Click on View Inquiry. Now you would see that colors appears here as well. That's matching my dashboard. Now you can do this coloring for status. You can do this coloring for states. You can do this coloring for any other column that you have here. And you can also color the whole row. In that case, you just need to go back here and put this formula in the row style. But let's say I want to highlight all the rows, all the deals that we have won. I want to highlight it in a bold letters. I go and I say simple formula for that. Go here, put in the rows, validate that so that system tells me your formula is correct. And then I go to my opportunity screen. I refresh that to see if it appears. All the won opportunities turn to be in bold. So you can see all the won opportunity that we have, it shows me in a bold letters. So that's the styling that you can do with generic inquiries. If you are keen to put some styles here. That's the way you can put the styles in generic inquiry. Now, my next point, the tip and trick, is the email templates. Now, many times that we need to send emails to our customers or suppliers. The thing is, if we have predefined email templates like this is the list of all the predefined email templates. We can use these when we are sending an email through MYOB Advanced to our customers or suppliers. The main idea is to save some time when you're typing in the email body, or if you want to put links in the email body, you can do that by predefining email template here. To give you an example, so let's say I want to send an email to this new prospect and I want to ask for samples. Now I can go to create email. Right, and it would just show me my signature here already. Now I can start typing in here if I want to samples, and if there's a long list of samples, it'll take time for me to write such an email. So what I can do is I can go on select template. I already have a predefined request for samples, and I click on select. You see that's done. So this saves my time writing all these lines again. And now if I want to send the same email to another customer, a few prospect that I'm looking for samples or any other information, I can just do this quickly by this way. Otherwise, I have to copy from one email to the other email or start typing in. Now I can easily click on send, and the email has been sent and added into my activities here. So that's the purpose of having the email templates. You can have any number of templates that you want. Those email templates are used in the business events as well, which means as soon as a record is changed or a new record has been entered or saved or something, system runs a business events and use these email templates to send in a notification area. So that if you receive any email from us saying about the invoices or any other information, just believe that we have used those business events and email template that helped us doing that. Another thing that I found is a good tip or a trick is common task. If we are a project running business that we do a lot of projects, we sometimes find that we can have one task that is common for all the projects. We may have different projects with different tasks in it. Some projects we have milestones, some projects we have tasks and subtasks. But if I want to have one task that can be added to the project anytime, and it is a common task which can be added to all the project templates, I can create it as a common task here for quality. For an example, we do projects for big builders, small builders, residential, commercials in the constructions area. We have different phases in all those projects, but all the projects have one common task, and that is quality check, if we want to have some quality check in place. So I created that as a common task here. Now, what happens is each time I go to my projects, let me open this one for an example. So this is the task that we are doing for that project. Now, if I want to add a common task, I click here, I tick box and click add common task. It will not only add it as a task here, but it will always add that task and add the budget quantity as well, that we need 4 hours of our team or engineer to do the quality check at the project, and it would be costing $100 an hour to us, and then we can set that as a budget there as well. Now, another tip is if there is a small variation where we do not need to raise a change order, well, the recommendation is always change orders. We can create those common tasks as small variation, and I can easily add that at any point of time to the project. If it doesn't require any approval or any approval from your management, it can then easily be, this function can then easily be used in this area. So quite a good option of having that common task there. The last one is mobile workspace. This is also very good trick. So we can have these all workspace ID in here, and this is what we see when we log in into the mobile app. So this is the sequence that when I log into my mobile app, I will see first, CRM, and then time and expenses, and then my workspace projects and so on. I can easily move these up and down to change the sequence. And as well, if I want to display particular screens and reports on the dashboard for my people, I can click on that and I can easily add what are the things that I want to show when I click on my workspace in the mobile app. So I have activity tasks, opportunities, sales orders, and then I want to display a customer dashboard as well. Let me just try connecting this. And I say allow, start broadcast. So you see, this is my mobile app here. And this is what I'm trying to say. So it would show me first my CRM, then my time and expenses, and I can easily move that thing up and down. So my workspace here, I have added activity tasks, opportunities, sales orders, customer dashboard, and then in the KPI section, I want to see what's my average weekly revenue running at the moment. So that's where I added the widget of my sales manager. From the sales manager dashboard, I want to see the average weekly revenue. So all the KPIs things can be added here, and all the screens can be removed and added here for my people when they log into the mobile app, what things they see and what things they can't see. If they don't have the access rights to those particular screens, obviously it will not be visible to them. But this is how we manage the sequence and add the workspaces on the mobile app. And yes, Al, that's all from my side. I think this is a good tips and tricks we all can follow.
Thanks, Pankaj. Yeah, so a lot of practical things that the folks on the webinar can use, we think, particularly like the ability to very easily tailor what shows on the mobile app and in what order for your people. So it does simplify how that looks and feels for any particular user. So next we have Chris Miller, the Managing Director of Velixo. And we've given Chris pretty much 30 minutes to take you through various things with the Velixo tool. I guess I might just quickly reflect on what we see that happens a lot in business is particularly people in the finance team, but can be project managers as well, running reports from their ERP system, exporting those reports to Excel, spending a significant amount of time then tidying up the data, unmerging columns, putting things in the right order so that you can then use it to produce some kind of report. And with Velixo, that all becomes completely unnecessary because Velixo connects Excel directly to your MYOB advanced database. So without stealing any of Chris's thunder, I'll hand over to you, Chris, and you can take us through Velixo.
Thanks very much, Al. Most appreciated, and thank you for having me again. I'm going to show my screen, if that's all right, and just take you through some slides. Okay. 1 second. Let's put that back. Okay. I won't take long. I've only got the 25 minutes, and it's counting down next to me here. Right, so I'll take you through a brief intro today. I don't have a lot of time to take you through detailed demos and that sort of thing. And what I want to get across to you, we're heading into the financial year end. People spend hours and hours and hours doing reporting at this time. And I'll take you through some things that just will make your life easier. And the whole aim of this tool is to create efficiency. All right. I'm then going to spend quite a bit of time having a payroll discussion. Because it really is a time with your STP reporting and things coming up where Velixo can make a massive difference in your lives. Okay, and then I'm going to walk you through. I'm not going to walk you through a normal sort of demo. I'm going to talk briefly about it, and I'm going to do 4 things in that demo. I will show you a financial pack that you get with your training on Velixo. I will show you the payroll report that has been literally blown the reporting in payroll open. And up until yesterday, Arthur was just reporting until somebody said that's the best payroll audit tool I've seen. And then I'll take you through construction pack. And lastly, the key part about all of this is everybody thinks that Velixo is about reporting and analysis. Okay, half of it is about automation. Okay, and I'll just start with a quick story. There's a big builder in North Queensland. They build 50 to 60 large homes a year. They have an Excel quoting tool, and they've used it for years, and they want to continue to use it. So where Velixo comes in, they were finishing a quote, and then somebody is building the project, adding the tasks, adding the budgets, and then doing the purchase orders. That took 2 to 3 days, and maybe a day of fixing and checking to make sure it's all right before it's approved. Now what they do, they finish that quote, it's approved, hit a button, and Velixo just builds that all in 2 minutes. So the ability to write back has changed the game completely. So it's a tool that can create automation, and that is just so phenomenally powerful. Okay. All right. What we're going to go through here is Velixo is completely integrated with MYOB Advanced and Excel. Okay. And there's different ways that it happens. Okay. So firstly, you log into a Velixo report, not with credentials we give you, but with your MYOB Advanced credentials. So if you can't see something in MYOB Advanced, you will not get it in your report. It's as simple as that. Okay. That adds a whole level that doesn't happen in any other product, certainly no other Excel-based reporting tools. Okay. Take that a step further, and any data that you've got in MYOB Advanced, everybody's heard of a generic inquiry. Well, you can write a generic inquiry on any piece of data. So generic inquiry is just a SQL script saying, give me this data, I want to use it. Okay, so that's really, really important. It's not that you can only use it on financials. There's a group of people who still, after 4 years, believe that this is just a financial tool. There's no limit to what you can do with it. Okay, so that's key, and that reporting and analysis side is powerful. It really is. Spending, I'll just touched on it, but you spend hours and hours putting together monthly reporting and board packs, and then somebody has this huge report that they've dumped into Excel, and they intuitively apply a rule to it to find the exceptions, which is what they need to fix. Well, the report should do that all for you, and you should go straight to the exceptions. Okay, so saving hours. Then the write back in automation, it really is a part that I described with that example, but there's so much you can do. I'm just going to show you right at the end, creating purchase orders. At the same time as creating those purchase orders, we'll attach a soft copy of the purchase order and put that straight into Advanced as well. So Velixo can be used for mass document uploads. There's literally such a myriad of applications of it. Okay. On the financial side, in MYOB Advanced, the general ledger is phenomenally powerful. So you've got your general ledger code, you've got your branch code, and you've got your sub-accounts, which are 30 dimensions in any number of segments you want. So if you look at that, you now get to this 3-dimensional type of reporting. And what Velixo allows you to do is do 3-dimensional reporting. Okay, and I'll talk more about that a bit later. But add to that your phenomenal ledger structure. So you've got your actual ledger where all your transactional work happens. Then your budgets sit in a budget ledger. 90% of users of MYOB Advanced, I reckon, believe you've got a budget ledger. You don't. You have as many as you'd like. And you can use Velixo to copy your budgets in. So your forecasting, put them into forecast ledgers. It is phenomenally powerful. And you can create tools with Velixo that you can use year in and year out, month in, month out. It depends how you want to do it. but it is extensively used to manage budgets and things across your ledgers. Let's go one step further. Your statistical ledgers. A lot of people don't even know they exist. They're there to hold non-financial information. We've got people holding rainfall. We've got people holding units, so hotel chains holding numbers of rooms per sale per night, and all copied in by managers straight from Velixo reports and kept updated. So those ledgers provide an extra element that makes Velixo even more powerful. Okay, and then you go to the advanced features like distribution, getting reports out. There's a lot of things there too. Okay, all right. Let's just talk three-dimensional reporting. What is that? Well, it's maintenance-free. Okay, and it is the ability in one report to just flick through things. So if you're looking at a branch and you want to look at another branch, you don't need to go back into advanced and then go and rerun this Velixo report. You just change it. It all changes in front of you. And that's how Velixo works. It gives you the ability to quickly look at different scenarios within your reporting. And it's all about how you build them. Okay, so we'll train anybody on Velixo with the aim of leaving you in a position where you don't need us. All right. And sorry, I should have said right at the beginning, please see us just as an extension of Momentum. Everything we do is through Momentum, and it's just how we work. They've even given me a shirt. Look at that. Okay. The other part of it is reports need to be dynamic and maintenance free. Now, I haven't got time to take you through how that all works, but in Excel there's a thing called a dynamic array, which is the building block of all BI and Excel reporting. Used cleverly, you add another GL account, it'll come into your report. You add another sub account, you add another date, you change anything. In the back end of advanced, if your reports are properly written, they must be maintenance free. So hard coding becomes a last resort for anything. Okay, and that's what we teach. Okay, you've got the ability straight out of a report to drill down to base data. And that's important. Your first level of drill down is into a summary cache in your Excel. The next level of drill down take you straight to those transactions in MYOB Advanced. Okay. The distribution features change the game. You can schedule this distribution where I think we've got a company up in Brisbane that send 54 reports out every morning to every sales guy around the country, and they know exactly what's happened. They don't have access to advanced. Okay, but they go and they immediately have a picture of what's going on with their customers. Okay, when it comes to consolidation and segmented reporting, I keep touching on, you can do what you need to with it. Doesn't matter if it's manufacturing. We've got a customer that we're just working with now where they sell product, but they also sell product through bills of materials. So normal reporting is really difficult, but with Velixo, you can unpack things along the way. So we've given them a report. It says, this is what you sold normally. This is what you sold in your BOM. So it really is a smorgasbord of getting to things. If you've got the data, you can report on it. Okay. And I will say straight off at one level, this is an Excel skill set. Okay. All right. As I said, I'm going to take you through a brief product demo. Just talk quickly about simple dynamic reporting. I'm actually going to do that through the financial pack. All right. I've got a payroll pack open. I've got a construction pack open, and then I'll do the write back. I'm not going to do too much moving around. These are three absolutely massive reports, and I don't want to slow the system down. Okay, so let's get rid of that and go into, there's my advanced and my first pack here. Okay, so this is what we call a financial pack. It comes with your training. You get it free of charge, and we map it, and we use it in the training to teach you skills. But what's in it? Okay, so you select your financial year, select your reporting period, your budget, and your forecast. And I'm just going to minimize that ribbon for now. Okay, and I'll come back to it. So it's got two dashboards in it. It's got three profit and losses, the increasing detail. It's got a summary balance sheet, a revenue trend report, an expense trend, a cash flow. These last three reports have got absolutely nothing to do with the pack, but we go through as we have done training with people. We say, in our applied training, what do you want to learn? So I need a searchable trial balance, please. And then because we're working in browsers, it's quite hard to search for things and then we dump them to Excel. So can we have a transaction report? And that's exactly what they are. So here's your analysis dashboard, and you've got just a dashboard around your P&L, some graphics and things, a couple of metrics at the top, and you've got your liquidity ratios and your profitability ratios. If you want to use that, great, it's there for you. You get it as part of your training. We see this in a lot more packs, just another dashboard, but from a financial perspective, all your metrics around your P&L, but we've also added in your receivables and payables. Okay. Then we get to the profit and loss summary. Okay. And it is at a summary level. It's built on your account classes, so it's completely dynamic. All right. So you add another count, it'll come into there. It's three-dimensional in that you can flick between your branches. That's quite easy, and you can drill down on accounts. Now, I'm not going to drill down now, but I have done it already. If I click that number, right-click, there's my drill down. I get this sheet, okay? And that gives you everything that sits under that account class summary, and you can then view the transaction. It'll take you straight to MYOB Advanced, okay? All right, let's go a bit further. Just let me say that every company that we've worked with uses some derivative of current month year to date. Your actuals coming from your actual ledger, your budgets are coming out of your budget ledger. You can flip between your ledgers. It doesn't matter if you had forecast ledgers. A lot of companies forecast quarterly, so they have their budget ledger, forecast quarter one, forecast quarter two, forecast quarter three, and when they look at their reporting, they have a toggle up here, and they toggle between things. So what was going to happen at the beginning of the year, what's happening now, what's going on with the forecast, so quick way of doing it. Okay, going a bit further on this one, you've got a 12-month actual budget variance there, but you can open it up and look at everything. And then you've got a 12-month detailed report. This report's also dynamic. So it's built with what's called list functions from Velixo. Here's your balance sheet summary. Okay, we've got opening balance, year to date, closing, and then the movement in the period. You can look at it by entity as well. All right, does it balance? Yes, it does. That's the way we do reports. So we've got the checks and balances built in. We've got an indirect cash flow here. All right, and what's important with this is that you can do a direct cash flow. This is looking at history. I prefer to not look at history. I prefer to say, okay, most people, when they talk cash flow in medium-sized business, say, okay, that's for the accountants. We're the real people. Where's our bank account going? So there's different reports that we use to do that. Just a revenue trend, stick in a board pack, or an expense trend. Here's your searchable trial balance. Okay, these reports are live. When I opened it, you want to go and make them live again, you just refresh them and it'll be live at that moment in time. The refresh does not take long. Okay. And then here is your GL transaction report. You can run it by entity. You can run it by account or account range. You can run it by period range, date range. So Velixo works not only in your periods, it works on dates too. So you can do literally any reporting you want. Okay. Let's go back down here and let's talk payroll. Okay. This payroll pack, we ran it yesterday for a big client in Sydney. They only do payroll, and they were the people that said to me, this is like an audit report. And a whole lot of their staff members were not set up correctly. They were missing ATO categories. They just went, just bring it. Okay, so talking you through this quickly, and I am going to go fast. It's not one report. There are a lot of reports in here. So the first is you've got an HR dashboard there. My data is not great, but when we ran it on theirs, it just looked awesome. Then you've got your employee details here. This is giving you where you can flip through your employees and look at them and get one picture of how everything fits together. But you can also add your own things into here. Any report that we give you can be changed. And you can do that through training, and you've got a list of your employees. Staff turnover report. Okay, everything by department, branches are in here, employee classes, whatever you need. And then you got your FTE reporting as a summary, and then by employee. Okay, the entitlement has just been gone through a massive change where on request of clients. So you've got all your entitlements listed here, and then everything under that, how it all fits together. Here's your leave taken. And it looks a bit better if I collapse that ribbon again. So your leave taken, and it's all sitting by department, okay, within the system, by branch, by department. And then this is an interesting one, changed last week. Client said, we don't want to see just somebody's taken leave from here to there. What were the actual leave days? So we put this report in. Okay, then we get to the money side. Your gross payment analysis, looking at the money side only, no employees, by branch, by department, by year, by month. Okay, so that's pulling your payroll apart. Then you've got your payroll comparison, and you've got everything you need there. Then you've got pay item by pay run, and I have just let's go and open up the ordinary time. You've got it all here by staff member. It's all there for you. Okay. Then you've got an ATO category. Okay. Now, in the demo system, I've only got gross payments. It looks terrible, but we ran this on this company and we found they had $2 million in their payroll that was unclassified. And there were a couple of those items that did need an ATO payroll category. That's your SDP reporting. Pay item by dollar analysis, pay item in units, and then we get to the key things. So the first is an STP summary. As I said, mine's only got one, but when you run this on yours, you'll have a whole lot. The other one is a key thing. Okay, so everybody says we need to do our recons and things. What this report does is it looks at your payroll, says this should be in your GL. I've then pulled information, or we've pulled information from the GL. There should be no variance. They should be the same. Okay, and then here's your GL detail reporting, and there's an exception report looking at employees that are messed up. This one in this yesterday had 25 employees in it, which was quite scary. Okay, so that's your payroll reporting. It's not only a report, it is also an audit function, as I found out yesterday. It gives you a good idea of what's going on, run it, and you can use it. Okay. All right, so let's go back down to here and just going to go through a construction pack quickly, where you can use this across your, looking at time, 4 minutes to go. You can use this. This is at a very high level, come down all the projects, okay? And then you've got your project summary, and you can flick through your different projects there, and you can look at your income and expenses across. Then when you get onto your budgets, you go down even further to your commitments. And the construction edition, you've got the ability to look at compliance and things. Here's invoices. The part that's really my background is construction and development, is your cost to complete. So you can set this up in such a way that your project managers can put in your cost to complete down to as much detail as you want, and they can then click a button and can be written straight back into advanced. And your cost to complete, to me, is the key element in managing projects correctly. And it's not just your estimated revenue less your cost to date. It's a lot more to it than that. And you've got it in detail, and you've got a forecast cost report on the end here. Okay. All right. Gone very fast. I'm sorry. What I should have said right at the beginning, that's your Velixo menu. Okay. So there's a lot of information in it, and I'm happy to do detailed demos. But the key thing I want to show you, another couple of minutes, in Velixo, okay, if you go right back, generic right back means you can put anything back where you can enter things into a screen. I'm sure everybody knows of a thing called an import scenario. So we would use them too. Okay, so we'll create that, and there's my import scenario. Okay, and I've then gone, this has only got 10 lines in it, but you can put thousands of lines if you want to. I've put some purchase orders in it. If you look at the purchase order on the right here, there is an attachment. So it's a physical purchase order, it's a PDF of a purchase order attached to that. So just so we know, let's put 33 in there. Let's say that is 5 and that is 8. Okay, so you can see them. You now want to go and create those in advanced, hit the perform right back, and it puts those straight back into advanced. Now, what happens, it goes faster and faster and faster as it opens up and it gets into a thing. So there's number 1 done, number 2 done, number 3 done. Bang. It'll now tell you what's been done. Okay. So now let's go and look at that in advanced. Here's my advanced screen with my purchase orders on. I opened it earlier, so now it needs to be refreshed. So let's go and refresh that. It's the 30th today. Here is the 3 that we've just put in now. This one with 33 in it has the attachment, and there you've got that. So if you wanted to do a mass document upload, if you wanted to create things, it's there to create that automation to make life easier. Okay, that's all from me. Thanks, Elle. Thanks, Morgan. Appreciate the time, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thanks, Chris. And that wraps up our presentation for you all today. So firstly, I want to thank everybody who presented, Joe, Pankaj, and Chris. And yeah, we really are interested in your feedback. We want these sessions to be as informative as they possibly can be for you, so you can take away information, knowledge, and skills that you can utilize right away. As you have already seen, Velixo really expands the capability of MYOB Advanced from a reporting, budgeting, management of data perspective. So if you're not already using Velixo, it's easily added. We can add it to your MYOB Advanced subscription, so it's part of the normal MYOB Advanced licensing. If you already have it, then you can reach out to us to arrange some training, or if you've got specific reporting enhancements you'd like, you should be able to do most of them yourself with some training. But there can be some complexities where we can help, or Chris's team can do that as well. I just did want to touch on a couple of final things in releases that we didn't cover today. One is in the construction industry in Queensland, project and retention trusts. That legislation or QBCC requirement is creeping into businesses more often lately. So for any of our customers that are in construction and have projects that are subject to that requirement, needing to have a project and retention trust because of size of project and who the end customer is, being state government, health organisation, etc. MYOB Advanced is compliant with that legislation. So we can add the enhancements that MYOB have developed that have been tested and meet the requirements for managing money into and out of a trust account for any project that's subject to that to those rules. So do reach out to us if that is something that you either need now or think you're going to need shortly. And aside from that, yeah, any questions or comments, please fire away.
Hi, Al. It's Chris from SMC.
Oh, hi, Chris.
Hi, just a quick question. Last time when we were, I think we were at the Viewpoint Hotel, one of the things you spoke about was the up-and-coming introduction of a lot of more food and beverage type functionality, especially around the quality management side of things.
Yes.
I think you'd brought in some sort of white label product. I was just wondering how that was going, if you'd managed to implement anything around that, you know, just how that's progressing on the roadmap and that sort of thing.
So yeah, good question. The feature is released. It's what we would describe as an embedded add-on.
Mm-hmm.
So developed by a third party, but runs in the product, and the end user or the customer would not know it's an add-on unless we tell them.
Yep.
Works throughout the inventory supply chain, so you can have quality steps as a part of a manufacturing process.
Mm-hmm.
Part of an inwards goods receiving process, or prior to a dispatch.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We don't have any sites implemented it yet, but we're in discussion with a number.
Okay.
And we've been through, you know, some enablement and demos with the eWorkplace apps guys. So it looks like a strong tool, but we don't have any live sites yet that we could, you know, make referenceable.
Yep.
But, you know, high level of confidence that it's a strong solution.
Yep. Great. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Look like there are any other questions or comments. So we'll thank everybody for your attendance, and Morgan will be organising for the recording to be sent across to you, so that way you can revisit any aspects of what we've covered today and share it with your team. Thanks everybody for attending.